Oh hey, didn't see you there. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Looking back on the footage in this video, I realized I didn't really have a cohesive intro, and a lot of things have changed in between filming this and now, so I figured I'd just insert myself in here and kind of give you guys an update. So what I really wanted to mention is we've had some major changes around here, and that is mainly due to the addition of our first child, Andrea. This is completely uncharted territory for my wife and I, and you know, we're just taking it day by day and learning as we go, learning on the fly, but it's been awesome. She's been awesome. She keeps us real busy, that's for sure, but it's been great. So she was born in October, and it's been a hell of an adventure so far. She can literally go through 100 different facial expressions within like a minute's time, so it's definitely entertaining. It's definitely amazing to see how fast they, you know, grow, and also how fast they develop and just start picking up on things. It's definitely been a trip, because you know what, we've all been there, right? So it's pretty cool. It's crazy how fast she's growing. Just the other day I was looking at her, and I swear her head grew like 20% bigger overnight, just like that. But anyways, it goes without saying, she pretty much rules our world currently, and who knows, by the time I'm done with Saleen, maybe she'll be old enough to drive. But yeah, just thought I'd share that. I'm still working on the car, still finding time to chip away at the Saleen, and that won't change. Things are starting to pick up, and it's actually really refreshing to see things go back into the car and stay there, rather than, you know, constantly tearing it down and taking things out of it. Hopefully it's a change of pace, and the more things that start going back into the car, the more, you know, momentum I'll build and motivation to, you know, complete it and get it done and start driving it, you know? Anyways, on to the video. Thanks for watching. So this is my 2004 SVT Cobra donor car, which I haven't shown in a while. It was hitting the rear quarter panel pretty good, and the roof got pretty mangled, but everything else was pretty much left intact. It's only got 48,000 miles on it, and it's relatively stock and untouched, except for, you know, a couple of little things here and there, like the exhaust and whatnot. And funny story, a long while back, the previous owner of this car actually reached out to me on Instagram when I actually used Instagram. And side note, I know my Instagram is completely dead. I never use it, but one of these days I'll get that page updated. But anyways, he messaged me and told me it was actually his old Cobra, and it ended up being one of my buddies who connected the dots on this car, because he saw a picture on IG and messaged the guy who posted the picture. It gets better though. He actually sent me pictures and video from right after when the accident happened. Everybody involved was okay, and I did ask him if I could share the video at some point, and he gave me the okay, and I just never ended up posting the video, so I'll try to insert it here. He actually told me a truck ended up losing control beside him and smashed into him. The truck ended up running up his quarter panel and drove onto the roof, which collapsed it. So that's pretty crazy. It was just super cool to get a story on the car. You don't always get that opportunity when you buy a car at auction. And I remember seeing in the pictures just how close he was to smashing a pole when he veered off the road. So again, that's super crazy, but because the car didn't hit anything, and just the way it was hit, a lot of the body was left perfectly intact, and I actually sold both bumpers, the hood, the side skirts, and even the trunk and spoiler, because nothing was damaged. And it helped me recoup a nice chunk of change from what the car cost me originally. I will say I got this car for a steal at auction, so yeah, awesome for me. Unfortunate for him at the time, but it actually worked out because he did replace it with a torch red Cobra. So yeah, it's a pretty cool story, and I thought I'd mention it finally. You know, better late than never. I'm pretty much pulling everything I can off of this car and using it in the Saleen. Pretty much down to every bolt and grommet you can think of. It's so nice to have a complete donor with everything intact, because you literally have everything you need right in front of you, and you don't get nickel and dimed to death on, buying parts individually. Not to mention the time it takes to source everything out, and even to go and pick some of the larger stuff up. You also have a reference for putting everything back together. So underneath the carpet, I've been working on getting all the factory floor plugs out of the Cobra, and that's because I will be using them in the Saleen. Not a big deal, but these are 5 years newer than the Saleen's plugs, so I might as well. These were the Saleen side mirrors. You see anything wrong with them? Wires just snipped right off. That's cool. No, I'm not too upset. These are a dime a dozen, and I have really nice folding mirrors off the SVT to go into the Saleen. I've got the carpet pulled and started to remove all the factory plugs from the driver and passenger sides. Once I pull all of them out, I'll clean them up a bit. And I'll get them into the Saleen. So here I've got a bag of some plastic end caps that I found online. They look something like this, with these push fins on the back. And I'm going to use them to cap off the ends of the rocker rails. They'll just give the ends a nice clean finished look, and also keep the debris out from inside of the tube. So something like that. The caps fit perfect. It's just the inner fins are a little wider than the wall of the tube, so I'll just have to shave them down a bit. No big deal. So here are some of the floor plugs that are going back into the Saleen. Pulled these out of the Cobra, as you saw. This is only a few of them here, but I just wanted to show a little before and after. I thought these would clean up pretty fast, but there's a lot of adhesive and gunk on them, so it's taken me quite a bit of time to get them clean. As you can see here, there's lots of this adhesive residue and gunk from the sound deadening that was stuck on there. Like this plastic one needs a little bit of work. These go in behind the seats. I'm not really sure what purpose they serve or why they're so big, but either way, I have to clean them up. Can't leave them like that. Can you guess which one of these came off the Saleen? Yep, it's the one with the random holes smoked into it. I got this other one off of the Saleen all cleaned up, and luckily it has no random holes drilled into it, and that's great because I think I can actually use this for something in the trunk. So here's a before and after. This one off the Cobra cleaned up real nice, but as you can see, it has a little bit of overspray on the bottom, so I definitely want to get that off since these tabs are slightly visible from the underside, and I can't have that. So these have all the adhesive off, and you don't want to use anything too harsh to clean it off because it could actually break down the material of the plug, and that's something I definitely don't want to do. Definitely needed that old gunk out of there so that when I seal them up, there's no old stuff in there, and it actually gets a good seal around. For the first two, I used a heat gun to get most of the adhesive off and then just let them soak in some Goo Gone and scraped everything off. Once dry, I just cleaned them off once more with some waterborne degreaser, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so in the spare tire well, there's a pretty large factory hole here. I'm not really sure what its purpose is. The factory just puts an adhesive patch here to cover up this hole, and I was thinking, I do have that one good floor cap that I kept from the Saleen that I showed earlier, and it actually fits this opening perfectly. The only difference is that there's no lip around the opening, so it's just really thin metal here, and this obviously has a larger lip, so I'd have to shave this lip down flat in case it interferes with the gas tank or any lines directly underneath it. When I looked at the Cobra's setup, and I'll throw in a clip here, it's a really tight fit under there, so shaving the cap down flush shouldn't cause any problems in that area. Then I'll just put a thick bead of sealer in there, and it should be good to go. So here are all the factory plugs from front to back. I've actually got them laid out in order just so I know everything's here. These were a total pain to clean. That adhesive was on there real good, but they're all cleaned up now. I've got them all looking like new from top to bottom. Most important thing was to get the old adhesive residue out of the channel so I could get them sealed up to the Saleen's floor pan. And for that I'll be using this urethane sealer to give that extra layer of protection and keep any elements out. I got the red fire overspray off of these ones, and actually since you can see the bottom side of these from underneath the car, I just gave them some black paint to freshen them up. Not that anyone's gonna ever see it, but at least there's no red overspray that'll catch my eye when I'm, underneath the car doing something. With the sealer, it's pretty interesting because when I took these plugs out of the Cobra, some just popped right out without any sealer or adhesive, but certain ones definitely had sealer residue around them. So it seems like they were intended to be sealed. I'm thinking just to seal all of them to keep any water or any other elements from coming in. I'm just going to lay new sound deadening over the plugs anyways, so I don't ever see myself needing to remove these plugs. And I'm thinking if you have that much water in the car that you have to start popping out plugs to drain the inside, I think you're going to have bigger issues than whether or not your plugs are removable. So I'll just be happier knowing they're all sealed off. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Time to pop them in. Alright, so here it is. Here's the sound deadening for the Saleen. As you can see, I went with the tried and true Dynamat brand. It comes in these 36 square foot kits. I picked up 2 of them because I want to cover a lot of surface area, and I guess we'll see if the 2 kits is even enough. In my case, I didn't just want to epoxy over 23-year-old factory sound deadening, so I removed all of it first, and now that the inside is painted and done, I not only want to put some sound deadening back in, I also want to actually improve the quality of the stuff going back in, and mainly reduce road noise, vibration, and heat. I've used Dynamat in the past, and there was a noticeable difference for sure. There are a lot of alternatives out there these days, and I'm sure some are just as good, but there is also a lot of garbage out there as well. You usually get what you pay for, and this is something I definitely want to do only once. So this is what it looks like. Comes in 9 decent sized sheets. You basically just cut to size and then roll it in everywhere as best as you can. There are a lot of different shapes and angles in places like the firewall and even the floor. So I'll probably do smaller, more manageable pieces in certain spots, just so it lays down as flat as possible. There's not really much to it other than making sure you don't get too many air pockets, and if you do, you can always just poke a hole in them and roll them out. For tools, I'll be using a razor. This old wooden roller I kept from another Dynamat kit I did years ago. I like the wood because it's not quite as hard and jagged as a metal roller, but it's not too soft either. And lastly, I found this guy at Home Depot, and I thought it might come in handy for tight edges and corners. I've also got some paper if I need to make any templates or figure out how much material I need, keep waste to a minimal. And lastly, you want to make sure the panels are clean and free of any dust and debris before you apply the Dynamat, so you're not trapping any junk in between. For that, I have some degreaser. The inside of the car already has dust accumulating after I just painted it, so I definitely need to wipe it clean. Time to get started.